Hey, Zoltan here. In this quick time-lapse video, I want to show you how I made this 90 by 90 cm Chameleon Enclosure background with the usual pure video and audio quality. Well, yeah. As you can see, I started by covering the frame, which I just made before. For this, I'm now using
Sacre FKNC1T
tile adhesive instead of the Bound with Basic, which I have used before. The simple reason for this, the new place where I now source my materials sells this brand. But from this you can see what I have said many times in the comments, the brand doesn't matter much, and if this product isn't available where you are, you can still mix a similar compound from regular cement and hobby sand. As you may have noticed, the theme of this background is a raptor fossil. But if we look closely, the nasal cavities of the raptor skull unfortunately didn't turn out to be the right size. This happened because the laptop which I usually use to view reference images is set up on another table behind me. So I look at it less often and mostly work from my memory. But since I liked it that way, so I just left it as it was. I build the teeth on stainless wire, so if something catches in them during cleaning, or if the future owner is handling the Chameleon and not paying attention, they just won't break off. Sharp-eyed viewers may notice later, but I did manage to break off one myself, although the adhesive hadn't fully set yet. I later fixed it, of course, but as you can see, it's always worth stress testing the sensitive parts, so they break on the workbench rather than during in use. For imitating the fossilized bone, I try to use a much smoother and cleaner texture compared to the rocks later on, so the two would contrast nicely. Different rock textures can be achieved by using brushes of various sizes. However, before starting a project of this scale, it's advisable to create test pieces just to practice. This way you can figure out which rock texture you can like best. Also remember that the texture you get is affected by how much sand is in the mix and how wet the material you use is. You can experiment with these factors as well, but that's the next level. As the skull and later the rock wall slowly take shape and the adhesive start to dry a bit, it's time to draw in the details, cracks, breaks and small cavities. It's hard to comment on this process because you just let your imagination run wild and keep drawing until it feels okay. It's worth using reference pictures from nature, at least until you can do it from memory. Of course, don't choose the Grand Canyon as your first reference, maybe some simple rock formation, and later you can challenge yourself with some more advanced. For chameleons, I recommend a thickness of around 3 to 5 mm. This should be enough to withstand any accidental impact or the animal claws. However, if you drop the cracks too deeply, you might reach the polystyrene frame, which must not be exposed. Even if the chameleon can't do much with a gap that size, and it isn't visible after painting, the feeder insects will find it and burrow through it. The next step is the painting. I use two types of paint, Acrylic color paste, formerly known as aquacolor, and Shudor acrylic paints. The base color of the rocks is now a vibrant ochre. And the base color of the fossil is a very dark brown, which I then cover with lighter shades. Then come the rocks. The video might not show it well, but here I use different shades of light ochre paints in, well, many layers. And this is it. It's done. All that left is to plant the pots and install the climbing branches for the Chameleon, but that will be the owner's task. Thank you for watching the video, I hope you find it informative. If you would like to see more content like this from me, please subscribe, and if you have any question, feel free to ask. Bye bye!